Hello, welcome back everyone. So we're going to start this lesson by a review of the quadratic formula. So this is your instruction. It says solve. Another way they might say it as find the solutions. Okay, so we're going to find the solutions of this equation using quadratic formula. So step 1, you have to make the right side equal to 0. Change the sign, so that's positive 3 equals 0. Okay, and there are no like terms, so that is the simplified form of the equation. So now we have to get our A, our B, and our C. So our A is positive 5, B is negative 2, C is 3. Be careful when B is negative because you have in the quadratic formula that will be negative B. Okay, so that will be negative 2 plus and minus square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2 times A. Okay, so that is your quadratic formula. So you will write your B here and here, negative 2 and negative 2. Here you will write the other 2, so that would be A is 5, C is 3, and here you will write your A. Okay, simplify. So negative negative is 2, no need for the parentheses. So that's going to be positive 4 multiply negative 4, 5, and 3. So that's you're going to get negative 60 all over 10. Now let's simplify further. So that would be x will be equal to 2 plus and minus negative 56 over 10. Now if you notice here, your radical is negative. Okay, so we studied in radical that there is no number that when you multiply will become negative. Okay, so the radical square root should always be positive. So here be careful. So it depends on your solution, on your instruction. If your instruction says solve or find the solutions, okay, so you have a solution, but it is called an imaginary number. Okay, so there's, but if, okay, what I mean here, if, okay, watch out, if they say find the real solutions, if they say that, then that's a different instruction, so you will answer no real solutions. Okay, the solution is imaginary. So when this is what they wrote, then you say this is the solution. Okay, but if they say find the real solution, you will say no real solution. It's called imaginary. So this is our, so here we will say no real solution. Solution is imaginary number. Okay, so we have to study how to, so our next lesson here will be imaginary numbers. So we're going to go back here because you still have to simplify that. Okay, but let's have an idea of imaginary numbers first. Okay, so imaginary number, there is only one imaginary number, which is the square root of negative 1. Okay, we said that that is not real. Square root should always be positive. And in math, the symbol for the imaginary number is the small letter I. That's the imaginary number. So let's study how to express, okay, numbers in I form. Okay, express numbers in I form. So say for example, express in I or imaginary form. Okay, let's have some examples. Number 1, let's say you have square root of negative 17, Let's try that. Okay. Then let's try square root of negative 12, square root of negative 9, square root of, let's say, 2 squared of negative 75, and let's try 3 square root of negative 8. Okay, so it's very easy. Okay, in algebra 2 you're going to have a deeper study of imaginary number, but in algebra 1 we will just learn how to express square roots of negative numbers as I form, in I form. So all you do is this, listen. So square root of 7 negatives, square root of negative 17. It's very easy. You just write it as if there is no negative. So that will be square root of 17, and then you put the letter I outside like that. Okay, so basically this comes, that is the shortcut, but I want you to understand also why it's like that. So let's go back. So square root of 17. Okay, you know how to multiply radicals, that I could rewrite that as square root of 17 times square root of negative 1. How do we multiply radicals? Inside with inside, right? Radicand with radicand, coefficient with coefficient. So if that is the case, then I could write this as square root of 17, and what is this again? We said that that is I. Okay, so this we could write as square root of 17, then this would be times I outside the radicand. Okay, in some books you can also write I as the coefficient and square root of 7. So these two are the same because multiplication is commutative, but this is not, it depends. Some books use this, some books use that. Okay, so let's continue. Square root of negative 12. So again, the shortcut is, we are not going to do all this long process here. We will just write square root of 12 I on the outside times I. But the radical square root of 12, okay, I hope you know how to do that. What's the lowest term of square root of 12 will be factor 3. I don't know what's your strategy. Okay, so 2 square root of 3, right? Then you put the I on the outside. Square root of 12 is 2 square root of 3, right? 12. When you do the factor, 3 is 2 and 4, and then 2 and 2. 3 and 4. Okay, so you're saying 2 square root of 3. Okay. Square root of negative 9, that's a perfect square. So that will be square root of 9i. But what is square root of 9 is 3. So 3i. 2 square root of negative 75. If you know this, then pause the video and solve this last two. Okay, so 2 square root of negative 75. That will be 2 times square root of 75i. But square root of 75, you have to simplify. So when you simplify that, okay, I hope you know. So let's 2 is in standby. Square root of 75, do the factor 3. Okay, 75, that's 5 and 15, that's 5 and 3. So that's 5 square root of 3, or 10 square root of 3. Okay, 3 square root of negative 8 will be 3 square root of positive 8, I on the outside. And what is square root of 8 is 2 square root of 2, I. So finally that will be 6